Yeah, g'day YouTubers, Spannerman again here with another video. Hope you enjoyed the video today. Please subscribe to the channel. Any comments, thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Yeah, g'day YouTubers, Spannerman again here with another video. Today we're just going to do a brief review on this 12 volt bar mounted chainsaw grinder. Now there's a lot of bar mounted sharpeners out there. You got the hand type ones that I reviewed the other day. You've also got the Granberg, which is probably the much higher quality one. And all those bar mounted ones are fiddly. This one is not as fiddly because you can adjust the angles at the back on the knob there. So that's just a matter of loosening this knob and you can turn this around to any which way you want. So that works quite well. So pretty happy with that. You've got your little adjustment on the back here so that you can position your tooth in the right position as you bring the grinder down. The grinder wheel is on this one is 4.7 millimeters in width and 105 millimeters in diameter, and you've got your two little clamps on either side, so that stabilizes it. And yeah, the only thing that I would say is I only had this a very short period of time, and the switch buggered up. So I just I cut a bit of stainless steel plate and put a little toggle switch in there myself. So yeah, that wasn't very good. But now what I would say about these is that you can get on eBay and you'll see this sticker on the side and you'll see all different names for them. So this is made in China and they go under all different names, but they're all coming out of the same factory, like a lot of the grinders out there. So an example is, and I'll get to that in a minute, how China just rebadged the same grinder, and people think, oh, is this grinder better than that one? No, it's the same grinder, mate. It's coming out of the same factory. It's just rebadged. And probably the grinder that they copy the most is the Oregon 511. Yeah, anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. So we'll just zoom back in here and we'll have a look at this grinder and we'll just fire it up. I'll just put this back on 30 degrees. I've got to make sure it's set at 30. So, and that's just a matter of tightening the knob up. So that's pretty straightforward and it works good. So you got that knob there for your left and right teeth. So you swing it right round the other direction. So you're 30 degrees left and right. So it's like a normal vise. We'll just see whether you can see that actually. At least they highlighted it in silver. Nothing worse with all the markings being all the same colour, black. And you can see what I did with the stainless steel plate. And the only other control that you have is this little wing nut will limit how much you can bring it down. It's got a spring on it, which is actually quite good. So that's a good idea too. There's a little bit of play in the head. Not a lot, but there's a little bit there. That little bit of play, that little rock in there, that's really minimal. Yeah, so let's test it out. We'll bring it down and make sure that it's going to do the job properly. I've just got to... Actually, I didn't set that up on 30 degrees. Where is 30? There's 30 degrees there. It's got little indentations in it, so... That's it there, beautiful. Just see whether you can see that. So we'll turn it on. The motor in it is reasonably good. I wouldn't say it's super powerful or anything, but it's reasonably good. I set it up before. Look, it does work okay. As I said, the spring in it actually works quite well, so I'm pretty happy with that. So when you've done that side, right, we'll just zoom back out there. When you've done that side there, it's just a matter of rotating this around. We'll just loosen it again to our, we'll just set it up to our 30 degrees. And you'll notice that you've got to get the other side and you've got to push the other side now. So that's the way it works. Your pivot point is here. And if we were to, and it virtually works like this, look, it's not a bad idea really, when you think about it. That would be at 0 degrees at the moment. Yeah, that's at 0 degrees. So when you turn it 30 degrees one side, you'll grind that side. When you turn it to 30 degrees, you'll turn it to that side, or whether you want 25 degrees or whether you want, so I think it goes to 35. Yeah, it does. So yeah, right side grinding, left side grinding, just put it where you want. So overall, I think this grinder was about $90 Australian. It does work. It's probably the better one that I've seen that's bar mounted. I also brought the Stihl, this unit here, which I'm done a review on. And what I dislike about all these type and Dremel types is you've got this little tiny stone. And like I said to someone once before, this is off a large grinder. Look at the difference. How can you compare? You'll go through, you know how many stones? This thing will last hundreds of times more before, this will wear down in no time. That's the worst part about them. Then they say that you can buy diamond stones. Well, diamond's not meant to be used on high carbon steel anyway, so that's another bad thing to do. Don't use diamond wheels. You'll disintegrate them in no time. They won't last long because diamond and normal steel don't like each other. You need like a CBN type wheel, and they don't manufacture them in those little tiny wheels. So that was that 12 volt. Now, what I was talking about before, that if you really want a decent chainsaw grinder at the best price possible, you're better off buying a Oregon Clone 511. 511 was probably one of the most popular chainsaw grinders out there on the market. They're still making all the clones today. And if I rattle off some names, they're all made in China. And they're all rebadged. And you've probably heard of Timber Tough in America. That's a brand they sell over there. They're all green, the green machine. It's the same as this. It looks exactly the same. Harbour Freight looks the same. Jono and Jono in Australia, the same. Swartz Tools in America, the same. BBT Commercial, the same. Dynamic Power, the same. Baumag, BAUMR-AG. That's just to name a half a dozen. There's probably about 20 of them out there on the market. Now, surprisingly enough, this motor that comes on here is identical to my Jolly Evo Tecumseh. When I look at it, every single detail on this motor, even the angle on the edge of the aluminium plate where it butts up against the motor, is identical. So I'm pretty 99% sure that this company in China that manufactures these motors manufacture them also for the Jolly Evo, the Tecumseh. If you look on the label at the back of the Tecumseh, it'll say made in China. So yeah, unfortunately, it's all coming out of China. This is the best value for money grinder that you could buy anywhere in the world. I paid $129 for it 2 years ago at Jono and Jono. I think the price has gone up to $145 in Australia dollars in the last 2 years. So it really is the best value for money. Avoid buying those little tiny small 100mm ones that I reviewed the other day. They're the most cheapest ones that you can buy on the market. They're normally about $60. You're much better off buying the Oregon type clone one. This one here is, look, if the Chinese turned round and charged an extra $20 for it, but really made it much higher quality, I would be prepared to pay an extra $20 for a product like this had the quality gone up a lot more. And I guess that's not what the Chinese are doing. They're making it as cheap as possible. And as I said, the switch on the back here, the off and on switch, in the first month, it buggered up on me. I've used this a few times out in the field because I wanted to see what it was like. But then I realised that sharpening chains in the field is not for me, because if I go out there to cut timber, I'm going out to go cut timber. And I know people say it'll only take you 5 minutes, it'll only take you this. I prefer to carry about 4 chains with me. And when the chain dulls, which is normally what I would do, a tanker, this is an MS311. If I take this out, I'll probably get 40, 50 minutes, and then I've got to refuel the oil and the fuel. If the chain feels that it's still cutting well, I'll leave the chain on. I won't even do anything about it. On the next refuel, or in between the next refuel, what I will do is refuel it again and swap the chain over. I might only swap the chain over once or twice in 4 or 5 hours. I just can't see the point of putting this in my car and going all the trouble and put it on. If you only had a couple of chains, then I could probably justify taking this out in the field and using it. As I said, look, it does work okay. Don't get me wrong, it does work okay. It's a little bit fiddly, but nowhere near as fiddly as something like this. This is a really fiddly little thing, little tiny stone. And look, if anything, if you've got a damaged tooth, you can forget this. You'll be there all day. This really is more of a polishing type stone, so it's not very fast. There's other brands on the market called Pro Cut, and Oregon make their own. They look like a little Dremel and that, and I just think that these are toys. And I almost put this in the category of a toy as well. I haven't thrown it into that category, but it's not far off it. Only because it works much, much better than those little handheld 12-volt Dremel type sharpeners. This is a lot better than a 12-volt type Dremel. So anyway, thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up. Bye for now.